Joe Biden is a gaffe machine. There is no question about that. But lately, there have been some questions about whether or not Joe Biden stutters or if it's indicative of his mental decline. And if you look at the media, increasingly they seem to be saying that Joe Biden is just stuttering, that if you make fun of him, you're being a jerk and ableist. Now, all of this disregards the fact completely that just last year, Joe Biden himself said he doesn't have a stutter.
Look, the mistakes I make are mistakes. And some people think I still stutter. I don't think of myself that way.
But why should we take his word for it? Let's instead take the word of people like Jake Tapper in the media who don't want you to point out that Joe Biden is kind of losing it, mentally speaking. Watch these clips and let me know if you think he's stuttering or if he just doesn't know what's going on.
And I don't look at this in terms of the way he does. Blue states and red states. They're all the United States.
Moments later.
And look at the states that are having such a spike in the coronavirus. They're the red states. What kind of country we're going to be? 4 more years of George is going to find ourselves in a position where if Trump gets elected, we're going to be in a different world. I'm running as a proud Democrat for the Senate. You ask, my name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Look me over. If you like what you see, help out. If not, vote for the other side. Give me a look, though, okay? Vote for the other side. No man has a right to raise a hand to a woman. And so we have to just change the culture, period, and keep punching at it and punching at it and punching at it. And in addition to that, we have to make sure that we are in a position that we are. Well, let me go to the second thing. I'm beginning to get bored by my own talk here. That's why I've made it a priority my entire career to work closely with you. From the time I got to the Senate 180 years ago. Agree with me. Go to Joe 30330. 150 million people have been killed since 2007 when Bernie voted to exempt the gun manufacturers from liability. More than all the wars, including Vietnam, from that point on. If Donald Trump has his way, the complications from COVID-19, it's estimated that 200 million people have died, probably by the time I finish this talk.
You're selling access to the president just like he does. So
You're a damn liar, man. Well, yeah, you do, but look, Pat, look, here's the deal.
I'm not voting for you.
Well, I knew you weren't, man. You think I thought you'd stand up and vote for me? You're too old to vote for me. I was a Democratic caucus. You ever been to a caucus? No, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Right this way,
Why attack Sanders?
Wait, you're getting nervous, man. 1, I married Jill. And 2, I appointed Johnson to the Academy. I just want you to know that. Just clap for that, you stupid bastard. Just clap for that, you stupid bastard. You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids.
Have you taken a cognitive test?
No, I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying you, before you got in this program, if you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie? What you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes. The only African-American woman that ever been elected to the United States Senate. A whole range of people.
No,
my point is...
that's not true. The other one is here.
And to get hot, I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Now, in my opinion, none of those clips really show a man who suffers from stuttering. What they show is someone who is old, and even when he was in his prime, didn't really know what was going on. Even when he was younger, he always had mistakes like this. But that does not stop the media from portraying any criticism of Joe Biden in this way as you being ableist. Jake Tapper did that less than a week ago.
First and foremost, I had no idea
that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
I think that you were mocking his stutter.
Yeah,
I think you were mocking his stutter.
Once again, any criticism about Joe Biden's way of speaking, and you are suddenly making fun of someone who has a stutter. Now, let's look at what it actually means to have a stutter. These are the symptoms we see. And what I don't see here is, saying that you're running for the Senate when you're actually running for the presidency, or saying that you've been in the Senate for 180 years, or saying that little kids like to come up, rub your leg hair, and jump on your leg. Just saying we shouldn't talk about red states and blue states, but then a second later say that red states are the ones that suck. None of that has anything to do with a stutter. It is just Joe Biden being, in his words, Joe Biden's husband. That's it. I would like to compare very briefly the reaction to Joe Biden and his many, many mistakes with that of George W. Bush. You see, in the early years of the internet that Al Gore invented, George W. Bush was very popular on YouTube, but not for good reason. Therefore, clips like this.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
Which is actually pretty hilarious, don't get me wrong. But the point is that back then, you were allowed to criticize him and say, it doesn't really seem like he knows what he's talking about in that respect. But you can't do the same with Biden because then you're ableist. It's evident that he's not all there all the time. He has too many accidents and too many mistakes for it to just be coincidence. But I still have one more clip for you. And this is a clip that I'll actually agree with. I think you probably will too. So let's just finish up with this.
Because we cannot get reelect. We cannot win this reelection. Excuse me. We can only reelect Donald Trump. We can only reelect Donald Trump.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.
I'm Joe Biden. And you know the thing.